Hi everyone and welcome. If I'm going to do a quick core class, two things need to happen. It has to be fun and it has to be playful. And for me, that means novel movements and a variety of movements. And the second thing is that it has to cover the circumference of the core. So the front of the core, the side of the core, and the back of the core. So if you have a block, grab it. If you don't worry about it. We can still do the practice without it, okay? So come back onto your back here with your knees bent. And relax all the bones of the body. So the first thing we want to do is release tension because we don't want to build strength on top of tension. So do your best here to connect with your breath. Let the bones of the body drop. Fill your belly with your breath. And then let's lift the feet off the ground. So the first thing we'll do is hover the knees above the hips and have the heels in line with the knees. Gather the abdominals in and make sure your lower back is down on the ground. And then from here, just tap your right toes down and then your left. And just go back and forth here. Take your time. If this is too much, it doesn't feel safe for your lower back, plant one foot and then tap the other foot down 5 times and then switch sides. If you want to challenge the core more, you're going to tap the foot further away from you. And some of you may be able to even lengthen the leg all the way out so that it hovers about 1 inch above the mat. And you just go back and forth. And again, you're really doing your best to release any of the tension around the neck or the jaw. And all this, it's really quite stiff in the trunk. That's what we're going for as we move the levers, which are the legs, away from the trunk. Last one here, and then bend the knees and plant the feet and connect with the core. And inhale, fill the belly, and then exhale, empty. Release the tension. Okay, so next one here is a variation on dead bug. You're going to have the knees over top of the hips again, and then have your right hand to the inside of the left knee. Have your left hand to the inside of the right knee. On the exhale, we're going to begin to move. So exhale, right hand overhead, left leg reaches out in front, and press your hand into your knee and let the knee resist. And then come all the way back up. Left hand presses into the right knee, or right hand presses in, left hand overhead, right leg out straight, and then switch. So just keep alternating. It's the opposite. Opposite arm, opposite leg are reaching away from the trunk. And you're pressing the hand that's in toward the inner knee, you're pressing it into the knee and the knee resists. So you're starting to wake up the inner seam of the legs as well. And so this is a little more challenging than the first one because now the arms are also going overhead. So your lower back is down. Make sure the lower back isn't overarching. One more time here. And then come back and bend the knees. Take a full breath in and release the tension again. And empty. Okay, from here, if you have a block, grab it, or maybe a rolled up towel can work as well. And then place the block between the feet. And so then you can kind of press gently into the block and that awakens the inner seam of the legs here, all the muscles in the inner seam. Interlace your hands behind you. It's on the exhale, you bring the left elbow to the outside of the right knee. Inhale back to center. Exhale, right elbow to the outside of the left knee. And let's go back and forth. It's the exhale where you lift and rotate, and it's the inhale you go back down. So go back and forth, and then the next time the left elbow comes to the right knee, straighten that left arm, reach, lift the shoulder blades off, and then inhale down, and exhale, right hand reaches. And then switch. So let's just do this one more on each side. Starting to get a little bit more into the side, the obliques here. And then bend your knees and grab the block and place it between your knees if you have a block. Arms can be out to T or cactus arms. And from here, it's on the in-breath, you drop the knees maybe 1/4 of the way to the right. And then it's on the exhale, you squeeze the block and bring it all the way back up. Inhale, drop it to the left. Exhale, squeeze block, bring it all the way back up. So we're working with the internal and external obliques here. And the way to challenge the core more is to drop the knees a little bit closer to the ground. So you decide what feels safe for you, kind of work within your range of motion, meaning just drop the knees as far. So if I'm dropping my knees to the right, keep that left shoulder grounded. If the left shoulder lifts off, then bring the knees back up. All right, so one more time here. I really love this twisting action. And then come all the way back up. Excellent. Okay, cross the legs, rock up. So this is where I like to sprinkle a little bit of fun and play into the practice. If you follow me on Instagram, I did this one a few weeks ago, and we're just going to pass the block from the feet to the hands. So you just throw it from your feet and catch it with your hands and then switch. And so you may notice very quickly that this heats up the front of the body. So I'm using all the muscles in the inner seam of the legs, the psoas is working, like the hip flexors are working. And then when I go to get the block, just grab it with your feet. So that means you have to still use the muscles in the legs to work, and then bring it back up and play again. Okay, so honestly, I feel this heats the body up so quickly. All the muscles around the hips are working as well. Last one. Whoo, all right. And come back up now onto your knees. Now you're going to keep the left knee bent and extend the right leg. We're going to get into the side body now. If you have a block, it's going to come into your left hand, and then you reach it up, and then you're going to tip to the left. So with your right hand, it can either just reach out to the side, or a little bit more challenging would be reaching up, or all the way over to the side. So you decide what's best for you, but I can feel this whole side body working. And breathing. So again, try to relax the jaw as best you can. Breathing. And then let's come into more of a stretch here. Opening up the left side body. Reach the hand up, but open up left side body and then bring it up. And let's just try this again. You decide where you want your hand, the right hand placement, depending. Okay, so just keep reaching. Try to avoid the head dropping forward. Lots of stability required when we're reaching both arms to the side. And then come all the way up. And then open, stretch that side body. And then let's actually open up, get into this hip here. So we're going to sneak a little bit of hip strength. So it's like a variation on side plank, right hand to the right hip. And then lift the right leg and start to pulse. So see how you do here. We're just sneaking a little bit of strength into this area here. So important. We want to engage all the muscles around the pelvis as well. If we can sneak that in. Again, trying not to drop the head down or forward. And then release, and let's come to the other side. So let's start by extending that left leg out. Right hand is going to support the block. And then we're going to tip to the right. Left hand can be out to the side or up or over. So you decide what's best for you. And you may notice comparing one side to the other that one side feels a bit weaker. And that's really common. Often the tighter side is the weaker side. So I think the other side for me felt like my weaker side, which makes sense because it's also my tighter side. So take a breath here. Come all the way up. Reach up. Open up through that side body. Then come back up and come over again. So tipping over, maybe you tip a little further this time. So you see wherever you're best, and let your breath be your guide. If you're holding your breath or your breath is jagged, that means you're probably a bit too deep into the posture. So one more breath here. Come all the way up. Open up. And then release the hand on the ground or on the block. And then from here, again, variation on side plank, you're just going to lift the left leg and pulse, and pulse, and pulse. So again, you can kind of compare this side to the other side. So we want to work the pelvis here. At the very end of the class, we'll do a little bit of glute and hamstring strengthening as well. And then release it down. And we're going to come to a prone position. Put the block to the side, and you're going to lay on your belly with your hands right underneath your shoulders. And then from here, reach back through your toes. Lift your front of your shoulders away from the ground and slide the shoulder blades down the back. On the in-breath, you lift everything up. The legs lift, the back of the skull lifts. Chest lifts. Now hover your hands. So feel the whole back body strengthening. So the front of the shoulders are away from the ground. Top of the shoulders are away from the ears. And the hands are hovering. Working all those muscles around the shoulder blades and around the back, lower back, all around the back body. Release that down. Now we're going to see about getting a little bit more mobility through the shoulders as we strengthen the back body. If you have a block, bring it in front of you. Place your hands on the block, palms on either side. If you don't, your hands are going to be just at the height of the shoulders. Inhale, lift the block, lift the legs, and then sweep both hands back, and you pass the block from your right hand to your left. Both arms sweep forward, pass the block from the left hand to the right. So you just keep coming forward, passing it in the same direction. Wonderful mobility for the shoulders. And now let's switch directions. So pass the block to the right hand and forward. If you don't have a block, you're pretending. You're just pretending that you're passing. But it's still the same circular movement with the arms. Last one, and then release that down and come up onto all fours. So you're on all fours here, and you're going to press your hands down firmly. See if you can lift your right hand and your left knee. See how there's an engagement across the body there as you do that. Now lift the left hand and the right knee. Have to balance a little bit. Now if this is enough of a challenge for you just doing this, you keep working on this and holding it. Maybe you also want to try to just lift the knees, and you're hovering them very, hardly at all off the floor, hovering the knees. Now, if you want to have some fun, start to crawl forward, but the knees are still barely lifted, like you're just hovering, and then you crawl back, crawling back. So it's such a good idea. You can probably feel the legs are working, the front of the body's working, all around the arm, all around these muscles. The lats are working. It's a really good idea. This heats the body up very quickly. I could do this for a lot longer, but all right. And meaning it's a good idea to do it a lot longer. Okay, now from here, come right down onto your back. So as promised, we're going to strengthen the glutes and the hamstrings as well. So, because it takes a lot of the work off the lower back. So from here, just start to lift the hips up, and it's like you're tapping your bottom down, and you go up and down. And there's a bit of a squeeze of the glutes at the top. So you don't want the death grip, but there's a definite engagement. And then hold with the in-bridge, with the glutes lifted, or with the glutes engaged. Pelvis lifted, pressing into the arm bones. They're not just inactive, they are active. They're pressing down. Then see if you can, you're going to lift your right leg up without letting the pelvis tip and drop. Pelvis is even. Good. This is really strengthening for now. Left glute, left hamstrings. Then switch sides. Balance on that right foot. Make sure the pelvis isn't dipping. Good. This is a lot of work. Pressing the foot. Good. See if you can stay for another breath here. It's okay to shake. Bend the knees and slowly release that down. Let's just finish with a few pelvic tilts. Inhale, arch through the lower back. Exhale, press lower back down. So just do this a few times, and with the breath, releasing any tension that may be lingering in the body, around the pelvis, around the jaw or the shoulders, and then come back to neutral. And if you have time to stay in Shavasana for a few minutes or 5 minutes or 10 minutes, I encourage you to do that. But otherwise, I hope this felt really great for you, and have a wonderful day. Namaste.